All right, team, welcome back to After Hours. We're going to have a pretty decent show for you guys today. News was a little dry, but we actually got one of the biggest news pieces of this year that we're going to talk about right now. We're also going to be discussing the best altcoins for you to look at, potentially buy. We don't give financial advice, so you do whatever you want, but we're just going to discuss what altcoins, if we were going to buy, those that we would buy, because we already have positions. And Maddie, I don't know about you, but whenever you're getting into money, I'm constantly trying to bolster those positions because API 3 is still good for me, Casper is still good for me. What's good for you right now?
Yeah, I definitely like those opportunities as well. If I look at some of the stuff elsewhere as well, like Algorand, and I think that it's a decent buy here right now. Of course, I'm going to go for the deeper values first, just because those are going to go the furthest for me and the biggest bang for my buck. But if I was also in a position where some bags were a little heavier than others, I might consider adding to some of those other positions like Algorand and maybe even opening a Cardano position. I think I have enough positions right now, but those are some of the opportunities that are kind of just piquing my interest.
Absolutely. And so at the end of the show, stay until the end because Matt's going to go to the charts and show off the reasoning for those picks. We want to justify our assertions here. We're not just going to sit here and say, oh, they're the best altcoins to buy. Believe me, we're actually going to go to the charts and from a technical perspective, see why these are the best to buy. So we're going to be discussing this upcoming PayPal news. I mentioned that a second ago. And then also to a little bit into the crypto treasury front, because it is getting quite interesting, Maddie, with some of these companies going to different strategies than what we've seen in the past. Many, popularized by MicroStrategy with a Bitcoin strategy. We've seen success this bull run. Now other companies looking at other cryptos to start a strategy. We've talked about the XRP treasury plans by companies and corporations. And now we're seeing some other ones with Ethereum, BNB, Hyperliquid. I've seen all different types of treasury plans. So we're going to discuss that today and what it means for you as for the investor, and give you a little update because I've kind of come to some conclusions about what I'm going to do on this front. I think you already know Maddie's stance on buying a proxy stock, but I've come to my conclusion, Matt, and I was just like, I don't know if it's all worth that. So stay until the end and we'll get into that. But before we get into our content today, team, very important you become a Crypto Charge member. Matt, what do they have to do?
Yeah, make sure you guys, when you go pick out whatever plan you want to pick out, use code YouTube at checkout. One, so we know that these shows are actually worth our time, right? Because we want to know that you guys came here, you saw that the value is here, right? And you came to our program from YouTube. So one, that helps us out so we know that these shows are helpful for you guys to keep making these shows for you guys. But you guys also get a 30-day free trial with that code, as well as 50% off any membership. So it comes out to $49 a month or $4.99 for the year. You guys get live shows Monday through Friday with us. We cover the charts in depth, the master watch list. We do technical tune-up Friday. We cover your guys' picks, up to 2 per person per week. Coin library, education, Discord. It's a lot of value. Come check out the trial at least, see if it's a good fit. If it's not a good fit, do me the favor of saying, Matt, this is why it's not a good fit for me, so that I can take that into account, potentially sharpen our program, make it even better.
Yeah, absolutely, team. And if you are like a never crypto investor here, is this your first time watching a crypto show? Listen, we get into a lot of the nitty gritty on the website. And here we get into some of the more popular news, but I do have to say, if you are outside looking in right now, looking into crypto is absolutely something you must be paying attention to right now. You have Ray Dalio coming out this past week talking about how you need to allocate 15% of your portfolio to Bitcoin and gold. And you have these surveys that are being conducted, one by Gallup that did a survey, and it looks like 14% of US adults now own Bitcoin or another crypto. I saw a study this past week that said if you invest 120K into Bitcoin at a 29% CAGR or compound annual growth rate, that will grow to 25 million in 21 years. So we recognize that crypto is here to stay. Last show, we talked about what it means if you would invest it in 2022. We've gone over what the 2010s looked like for Bitcoin. It's only up from here, not necessarily, you know what I mean by that. I don't have to say we are going to have corrections. That is not saying that we're going up in a straight line. But it is an opportunity that you want to take advantage of, right, Maddie? So, we're seeing all this bullish sentiment with crypto right now. Has your ideas with crypto changed at all this bull run so far?
I think one of the things that again, and this is something I'm going to be preparing myself for in this upcoming bear, is just making sure that I'm opening myself up to new verticals, new opportunities that are going to be present each cycle. Like you mentioned, the cohort of individuals who own crypto is getting exponentially larger. And I really think that by the time we get to a full adoption standpoint, you have real estate becoming a very normal thing, being tokenized on chain, vehicles, all these different things. There still will be returns, but it's the same as how you're looking at the S&P and the Dow Jones and the Nasdaq right now, where the opportunity for the later generations is a lot smaller. So, take advantage of this early opportunity. The safety and numbers thing is not really what makes you rich. It's being as early as possible to very valuable technology. And I think that there's still a lot of great opportunity and will continue to be a lot of great opportunity over these next 10 to 15 years.
Absolutely. Let's get into the content for today because we have one of the biggest news items dropping today, and it's by PayPal. PayPal drives crypto payments into the mainstream. Businesses around the world lose billions annually in cross-border fees while navigating a complex banking system to make and accept payments. Pay with crypto is now a feature on PayPal. Is offered for near instant settlement, seamless international transactions, and with a transaction rate of 0.99%, Pay with crypto decreases the cost of transactions up to 90% when compared to international credit card processing, offering over 100 different cryptocurrencies, multiple different wallets that you could use, unlimited access to funds because it's happening almost instantaneously. And so this is something crazy. Some of the cryptos I'm looking at here: Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, XRP, BNB, Solana, USDC. The wallets that you can use here is also amazing: Coinbase, OKX, Binance, Kraken, Phantom, MetaMask, Exodus. So this is really opening it up for not just you to be in your little corner using your one wallet and not be able to transact, but now it's like you can have your own wallet on your phone and transact with a merchant. And this is coming to the US here very soon here. And so, Maddie, I just wanted to talk about with you because, you were one of the people that brought this up to my attention because I remember, just a couple years ago, me and you both got the Coinbase card, right? And it made it easy for us to go to a merchant and pay with our Coinbase card. And we would pay in XLM or whatever digital asset we had, and it would immediately, be paid to them in fiat. And we earned rewards on that. And so now we're here in 2025 with PayPal now offering crypto processing for, merchants, for physical POS systems or online. Isn't this kind of incredible?
Oh, it absolutely is. And I think to some extent that it's just one company, right? It's one instance of this, but it's the greater concept that we've talked about this entire time. Eventually, you're going to have a lot of customer-facing solutions. In this case, we're talking about PayPal, to where you're able to use crypto directly or indirectly, and it makes certain systems more efficient, whether the consumer is hyper aware of it or not. Now, in this particular instance, we have of course, the ability to connect your wallet directly, and you can pay with or receive crypto based on what merchants are receiving it. But I think it's a very exciting implementation. PayPal in itself has really mastered integration into merchants by making it very easy to check out. And again, we're not here to do tricks on PayPal, but I'm just pointing to you guys how
I'm certainly not.
I'm certainly not, right? And at the end of the day, though, when we look at payments, if you guys go to check out on a website, right, and you don't see an option to pay with Apple Pay or pay with PayPal, and they want you to go get your credit card out of your wallet, and you got to go put all the information in there. Consumers 9 out of 10 times will not complete the purchase. They will literally just abandon the purchase, or they'll go somewhere else where they can purchase it with that checkout, right? Because you can store all of your different payments in there. You add crypto into that. Now you're really giving people another layer of access without having to, again, go grab complex wallet addresses have to go get move monies around, right? You have the ability to integrate and do essentially one-click checkout with your crypto. So I think that's very exciting. You stack on top of that the fact that PayPal has expanded into the buy now, pay later elements as well, with the pay in full with no interest over 4 equal payments, or the credit option, right, where you can pay over up to 12 to 24 months. Again, make sure you guys are looking at those APYs. They are like 35%. Nonetheless, though, PayPal has really mastered the integration, getting consumers to do that one click, right? So now when you have the ability to merge and integrate your crypto wallets directly into PayPal, it's no different than not having to go get your wallet and put all the card information in. You have the ability to do one click merging and essentially one-click transfers to those merchants. I think that's absolutely massive and really sets us up for true crypto adoption long-term.
Yeah, this is pretty great. PayPal big fintech company. It's not a bank, so don't store your monies there. It's a great payment processor, the biggest in the world. And so to add this feature to, kind of bridge crypto and, traditional finance, you could say, is really amazing, right? In their press release, PayPal gave this description, like, imagine you're in Guatemala and you are a buyer and you want to buy something from a merchant in Oklahoma City. You can now make this transaction happen easy with crypto, where you pay your 0.99% fee and it happens instantaneously, and you don't have to suffer these crazy credit card fees from, if you're in Guatemala or, one of these Latin American countries, and then you're trying to buy something in America, that's gonna be very hefty. And so you can kind of skirt that with crypto here. So I thought that was a pretty good example there. And Matt and I were discussing before the show just about, the stable coin PYUSD, and how, if you have that in your PayPal wallet, you earn 4% on that USD. Am I correct right there, Matt, on that stable coin?
That's right. In Litecoin, right? So you're earning 4%, just like how in Coinbase you're earning 4% essentially, give or take, on USDC, and that will be a dynamic rate. So those rates are of course going to be tied very closely to what the treasury rates are. So those can go up or down. But yeah, right now it's roughly, give or take, about 4%. So it is a great opportunity for merchants to earn essentially interest on stagnant balances and still be able to use that money in a very liquid way, be able to pay bills, whatever, refund customers, whatever they need to do.
Yeah, it is. It doesn't replace your bank account, like your business bank account at an FDIC insured bank, because your PayPal funds would not be FDIC insured in this instance. So it would be, you use it as a payment processor, and then you interact with the bank if you're dealing with large amounts of money. Again, if you're a smaller company, you might just use it because of the yield you're getting on your PYUSD. I did want to talk about something a little bit more, so we could stop right there, and I think that would be a great news article. But I have been personally very critical of PayPal in the past, and this came to my attention a long time ago by Bitcoin Academy guy Matthew Cratter, and he brought up some of the ethics over at PayPal. And so I want to say this is great. This is of course great, but I did want to lay out for you, listen, if you are a merchant and you want to use PayPal's pay with crypto feature for, you as a business, and you want to save on transactions and be able to seamlessly interact with people that use crypto, fantastic, great. But I did want to offer some other options out there that I would constitute a little bit more ethical. And you might just say, well, Gavin and Matt, you guys have been critical of other centralized exchanges that maybe, freeze funds or, remove cryptos from their exchange, XRP, for example, whereas like Uphold kept XRP. And you guys are like, well, you guys didn't care about ethics then. Hey, listen, Maddie might sit here and say, I'll leverage whatever exchange is possible. I've done that in occasions too. But now that it's come to my attention just about how PayPal operates, you know how PayPal operates? PayPal is notorious for censoring people, journalism, news outlets, companies, nation states right now. There's one particular nation state that cannot use PayPal. Can you guess which one it is? I bet you can. And so from this standpoint, it kind of goes against, if your ethics are just like crypto ethics, and where you say, well, I want to manage my own money and I want censorship resistant money, well, then PayPal is naturally against you. It looks like PayPal is pro-crypto in this instance because they want to collect your fee, but they're actually very anti-crypto from a philosophical level, from an ethical level. And so when it comes to, the censoring, they're notorious. I can name off, I have at least 10 here, like Molly Keensley. Hey, if you're against that mandatory jab in 2021, Molly Keensley got her funds frozen on PayPal, and she was later banned. Mint Press was banned. PayPal has historically banned other, speech advocates online for, things that they don't like here. It doesn't really fall in line with our First Amendment rights. If you're a big free speech guy, it's kind of, hey, I'll leave it up to you. Just let me know if this sounds ethical. You might say something that falls in line with our free speech laws here in America, but PayPal can be like, oh, actually, we don't like that. And so we're going to freeze your account for 180 days, and then we're going to ban you. And it's like, what? This is, I get it. It's a multinational company, but it's like you're operating here in America, and it's the biggest payment processor, and you're going to freeze my funds for 180 days for something I posted on X. I see that as completely unethical. And so, hey, listen, I know we don't get really political here, or at least we shouldn't try to get in that front. But I do want to lay out all the facts here because, I've been quietly critical of PayPal in my past. When someone brings it up, I was like, yeah, I don't use PayPal anymore. I'm sorry. I don't want, if I say the wrong thing one day, they're going to freeze my funds. So I did look into some other options here because, PayPal isn't the first. If you are a merchant, Strike has been around for a while with, you can use Bitcoin and the Lightning Network as a merchant. There's also Now Payment. One of the most notorious ones is BitPay. And so you got to ask about the transaction fees. If PayPal is 0.99%, BitPay would be 1%, 1.5, or 2%. It kind of depends on the transaction. And that's available in the US. So if you want what I would call an ethical option here in the US, I would say go with BitPay over PayPal. I got to say, because Matthew Cratter, when he brought this up to me, because he's a staunch Bitcoin maximalist, right? And I love hearing his passion about it. I'm obviously not a Bitcoin maximalist. I love Bitcoin, but I need my money to work a little bit harder for me right now. So I'm going to invest in XRP. I'm going to invest in HBAR. But I got to say, Bitcoiners, altcoiners coming together, screw PayPal. I don't want to deal with them, honestly. But Maddie, you brought this up in the past, right? You brought this up, because I'm, in reference earlier to Uphold, you're just like, oh, I'm going to do business wherever. Does these ethical questions ever pop into your mind like they do for me?
Oh, of course. And again, I think step back further, for me, from just a ideology of a firm ideology of who I am as a person, I'm a very libertarian person as a whole. So I care very much about my own individual liberty, the ability to say what I need to say, or, do business who I need to do business with. It's difficult when you have a lot of these enormous giants that you can't ignore, right? And I think it's kind of the same as when, we look at certain restaurants, or we look at certain, store chains that we know are doing unethical or illegal things. But at the same time, it's very difficult to avoid them when you want to go do just regular things like grocery shop or travel places, right? It's very difficult to avoid those because your options are very limited. So yes, in the grand scheme, if I have the option to, and I could do business directly with people utilizing just crypto directly from wallet to wallet, cold storage to cold storage, of course, I would always rather go that route. From a practicality standpoint, though, we always are going to have to do business with nefarious people or people that we don't like or don't agree with. Same with your traditional bank account, right? I think it's very difficult to find a trad bank right now, Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, whatever it is, that isn't engaging, either helping laundering money for the cartel or, charging consumers enormous fees that are essentially bankrupting them, and engaging in horrible business practices. It's very difficult to avoid all of that. So yes, even though I am very hyper aware of all of the ethical issues that surround PayPal, it's not going to keep me from still utilizing PayPal at checkout, or even potentially sending or receiving crypto at checkout. It's just kind of one of those things that you can't avoid.
Yeah, Maddie, I hear what you're saying, but this is kind of goes along with Tornado Cash, right? It's a Ethereum mixer, and, you use that for privacy. And you could be like, hey, we're online facing people, and maybe I don't want people tracking where my money is flowing in crypto. And so you can use the Ethereum mixer to create privacy for yourself, right? And I think that's absolutely valid. But then you have the United States and the EU cracking down on Roman Storm right now. And so it kind of goes to that point where it's like, well, PayPal has policy that is not like our First Amendment right here. If they, at, policy office at PayPal, if they don't like what you say, they can freeze your account for 180 days. Completely unethical in my mind. And then you have Tornado Cash, which is, for the example of your bank where they do nefarious business elsewhere, but Roman Storm has been kind of pinned like that. If you've been keeping up with the case, it's something I don't really bring up on this show because I know you guys probably don't care, but he's literally being attacked right now for his code. And so it's really crazy how you could have these big companies, these big corporations, or even these decentralized protocols bringing in this big technology or transacting it at a bank level, these nefarious, having these nefarious purposes, whether it's in Latin America or Mexico, even here in America, right? That's what that's what Elizabeth Warren will say. Bitcoin is bad because you can, get around us and do illicit activity.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of things at play here. And I just want to kind of boil it down. PayPal is a company and they can set whatever their private policy or their policy standard, at PayPal, they can set it to whatever they want, right? As long as it's in regulation of US, right? So I don't think, banning people online or banning people from PayPal because their speech online is really all that great. Just as you could say as the same for a bank, because then you can get debanked, or for, in the situation of Roman Store of Tornado Cash fame. So there's a lot of these instances here, and I think it's very important to bring up because a lot of this can get very surface level. Matt, we can get very surface level and talk about how great this news is, but how is this impacting our day-to-day life? If we really believe in self-custody, if we really believe that a lot of these cryptos are censorship resistant, like Bitcoin, and their decentralized protocols like XRPL, we want to champion these ideas, all right? We don't strip out these ideas from our mind and then come to our show here and be like, well, this is good, but I'm not going to talk about the elephant in the room. No, it's very apparent. And so while this is great for people that need access to, this business that PayPal is going to offer for them with, pay with crypto feature, I would say look at some of these other options because there's plenty of other options like there. Again, Strike, you have BitPay, Now Payments, Alchemy Pay. There's plenty of other options out there that you can use as a merchant to where you don't have to use POS system, PayPal at your merchant, your brick and mortar store, etc. So I just wanted to get into that. Maybe that went a little longer than what I thought it was going to go. I thought that was going to be quick, Maddie. Way longer than what I thought today. You know what? We're going to skip this crypto treasury companies are getting out of control because we can talk about that next week, just about some of the forecasted stuff there because it is interesting. I did want to get into that. But let's go to the charts, Matt. Wow, we spent way longer than what I thought.
Don't ever talk to Gavin about PayPal again. Cut your head off.
So oops. All right, Matt.
No, it's important stuff that we talk about, right? Because like you said, it's not all just perfect hunky-dory. Every time we hear the word crypto in a big merchant, that it automatically means everything is copacetic and it's the best solution for everyone. Like you mentioned, there's a lot of alternatives out there. I think over time too, you're going to see a lot more free or very cheap, more easy to use customer facing solutions for a lot of our favorite blockchains. And those will compete with PayPal. Short term though, merchants do like the brand name. They want to insert the brand name. It's very easy connection versus telling consumers, hey, sign up for this wallet that you know nothing about. And we're going to integrate this our POS. We want you guys to use it, right? It's a much bigger pitch for them. It's a much bigger integration. So I think over time, as you get more solutions, more competition, you'll start to see a little bit of that move away from PayPal. Short term, they have a big market share. They will garner a lot of interest short term, but all good points, Gab. Let's take a look quickly at the charts, guys. I just want to breeze over a few things that are going on out there. When we look at the market today, we've had a little bit of a correction, or today the market today as a whole. Bitcoin has been flagging here on the 4-hour. I think that this is still a relatively healthy and compressive structure. 112 is still our fair value gap, so that still could get clapped. Doesn't absolutely have to short term, but it would be the healthier thing for price to do. As far as a lot of altcoins go, though, I think we've seen a lot of really big strength in here, even through these corrections. ETH has hardly pulled back at all. You guys can see what incredible strength you've seen here out of the Ethereum chart. We are butted up into some major resistance right now. Short term, I'd like to see 3,300. But as far as some of the bigger values out there, Algorand did a picture perfect backtest. You guys can see that there was a nice little backtest into the previous high here for May, turning that to a support level. Maybe we come back to get that as a double bottom, so you guys be looking between 23 and 25 cents there on Algorand. Casper is down here at the lows again, right around 1.1, which is our area of interest that we've shown you guys time and time again is an area that we are willing to capitalize on. API 3 has done a nice pullback here as well. Again, really not doing too deep of a pullback, but just the right amount. After the breakout, seeing that nice back test in there. Again, when you look at the larger break here, huge break off that compression structure, right? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Again, this is also a great leverage. Free leverage trade for you guys here. 64-cent stop, 75-cent entry, and a TP around 212. That's a 12 risk reward ratio, guys. You guys can take care of that on Unix if you guys are looking for leverage. We'll leave that in the comments for you guys. And you guys also have HBAR here that did a beautiful back test. So you guys can see, again, the breakout. You back tested here into the high over here from May. Pulling back a little bit today, but still maintaining some decent value there. So again, I like Casper a lot right now. I think those are easy trades. API 3 is an easy trade. Zcash, if you guys miss Zcash, we're here at $40. It's actually a pretty decent value, big picture, right? Of course, would I rather got you guys been a Crypto Charge member and picked up a $20 Zcash? Yeah, of course, I'd rather you guys have had a $20, like our members have, between a $20 $25 average. But you guys are still able to buy a high or low here. I think Zcash is a great opportunity. XRP is expensive right now, guys, right? You guys got a little bit of a back test pretty close here to like that 290 region. It's still very expensive. Not a fantastic risk to reward ratio. And then I also like the Cardano setup here. Again, maybe you could pull back a little deeper towards 72, but really clean break of this flagging structure in here. Great opportunity. So I'd really encourage you guys to look at some of the opportunities that have offered a deeper pullback, maybe some projects that you saw do a nice break and you're like, damn, I wish I had gotten it, right? Now is the time to start plotting and getting involved with those. Don't wait until we get confirmation of those next big impulses and then start trying to chase price up and then get frustrated when price pulls back pretty immediately from those levels, as you're trying to chase those big green God candles. So over these next couple of days, if we continue to get a little bit more correction, plot, make some decisions, but don't FOMO in either way.
Great picks right there, Matt. A lot of good picks for you out there that are looking for altcoins to look at. Listen, when I talk to people, Matt, and we've discussed this before, when you meet someone that's like new to crypto, hi, I want to buy crypto. What do I do? My first reaction every single time is to say, hey, go on to CoinMarketCap, look through the top 20 or 30s, let me know which crypto you like, and then we can discuss it from a charting perspective, and let me know what fundamentals you like to see if it's a proprietary crypto. That's a great starting point for most of you, all right? Once you do that after this show, if you're new here, go on CoinMarketCap, look at some of the cryptos, and then drop them in the comment section down below, and Matt will chart them on Wednesday. And we can discuss what is some of the value within those cryptos or those crypto networks that might make it a worthy buy, because that's what we're, here for. We're here to be investors. We're not here to, do whatever these other people are doing. We're here to make money, right? At the end of the day, we're here to make money. Again, going back to maybe sort of the theme of the show, trying to be as, I guess, ethical as possible. I'm not comfortable with, me, if I say the wrong thing online with a, multinational corporation or PayPal, freezing my account for 180 days. I'm not really down with that. Okay. If they want to reach out to me and say, hey, we don't really like you, can you go do business elsewhere? That's fine. But the freezing of the account, man, that's really where you draw the line.
Agreed.
180 days is a very, very long time. And that has happened to multiple people, multiple news outlets, journalists online. Completely unacceptable. And so if you're a business person out there, if you're a CEO and you're doing business with PayPal and you as a front-facing CEO say the wrong thing, they can come back to you and say, hey, frozen, done. And it's like, well, I knew everything about crypto. I was super into crypto because of how ethical it was, but I was still doing business with PayPal. And it's like, you dummy, what were you doing? You knew you got into crypto for a reason and you kept working with PayPal. And so it's like, you're shooting your own self in the foot. You're literally asking for it. So, hey team, just be, a little bit aware of these things. I know most, crypto people aren't going to bring this up, but I think it was very valuable to bring up. So that's all we have for today, team. Make sure you leave a like if you got something valuable here today. Next week, we can talk about this crazy crypto, strategies that these companies or these big corporations are implementing. I'll finally give some thoughts on the Vivo Power stock, kind of look through all of it and kind of came to a decision. So we'll discuss that next week. But if you have questions, leave them in the comment section down below for the Ask Matty show this Wednesday, 2:30 p.m. Pacific, and we will bring them up if they're good. All right, team, we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Bye.